Hey everyone, welcome back. Today we're going to do a flipping jig, and I think this is the best flipping jig I've done. Uh, of course, I've had this pattern before, but new material and stuff constantly changes, and we get to tweak things and make them better. So what we got here in the vise is a 5/8 ounce Sparkie jig with a 4/0 Gamakatsu 294 hook. The color is black and purple, and that's black purple vein. And what's neat about it is the surfaces. With this being a rounded surface, we got that really neat color. But then on the top, it's sort of it's hard to see with the light. Um, it's bigger veins, almost like lightning. Kind of two different colors in one. And the reason that I didn't redo it and show you one that looked like this all the way around is because I wanted to show you how fickle this veined powder paint is. No matter what color you get, you have to be careful the way you do it. Now, some of them work better in a fluid bed, but most of them don't because you got two different densities, and the lighter color will come up to the top while the heavier veined part stays underneath. And what you get is you'll either get all color or you'll get just one area where you got the veining but no other. So it does get fickle, but um, I don't think you could go wrong any way you paint this. I love this particular shade of purple. Um, so that being said, we're going to get started here. We're going to take a little bit of black 210 denier flat wax nylon and just put a small base on. We're going to put 60 strands of skirt material on this. This is a pretty robust jig. And I don't know if I ever talked about it. Like the Sparkie is sort of like the difference between this and an Arky jig is, the Arky tends to be a little bit wider and flatter, where the Sparkie has more weight up front. So if you want a jig that you're going to drag and bring through rocks and wood, I would look at the Arky jig. If you're going to flip and pitch in the heavy cover and just bang off the bottom, give the rod a pop or two and then bring it back in and go to your next spot, this is the one I would recommend. Okay, so we got our base started, and I'm done yapping about that kind of thing. First color, this is purple Nature's Edge. Two wraps before I go around, because what happens to me a lot is I'll spin the vise, and what ends up happening is I spin it this way or that way, and um, I unravel the thread, and then my skirt material goes all cattywampus. And listen, there I am saying, oh, I'm going to stop yapping, but I'm still yapping. I'm sorry about that. Okay, purple in. Now we're going to take a tab of plain black, and we're going to tie that in. Same way. Basically, what we're going to do is sandwich the black in between purple. How did I get a cat hair in there? Unbelievable. Oh, never mind. It's not a cat hair. It's just it's a piece of uh, a fuzz from the packaging where, well, I put my skirt material in Ziploc bags, and what happened was I got it. I dropped the bag, and the skirt material fell out, so I picked it up and put it back in, and now I got fuzzies on my skirt material. And I know what you're thinking. Maybe if you run the vacuum once in a while, you wouldn't have that issue, but um, I do. I take care of my home as best I can. There, we got our black tied in. Now we're going to take another tab of our Nature's Edge purple. Make sure none of my strands are stuck together. It's one of the things that happens with this. I'll tell you what, I don't know if I'd make it through the winter if it wasn't for, you know, making baits and um, developing new patterns and, you know, trying different hooks. And you start the year and you find out what's working, what's not. To me, I don't know. That's kind of the fun of it for me. I love when I can come up with something that works really well, especially like when nothing else is really working. You get that like satisfaction. You're like, yeah, I fooled a fish with my stuff, and um, every other thing doesn't seem to be working. So now I'm going to get a collar started here so I get my material to flare the way I want it, which is one of the reasons, like, Barlow's got this neat, really good artistic wire in that I get, uh, and I will wire tie flipping jigs most of the time. But when I want to control the flare, and uh, color coordinate, I'll use thread. If I'm using, like, say, I'm making all black flipping jigs or black blue, and I'm just using two colors, and one's on the back, one's on the front, and I want to do a bunch of them, I'm going to use the wire. But when I'm doing like this here, where I have the material sandwiched, not separated but layered together, then I like the thread. It gives me more control. But if you could do it with, I mean, I have a video. I took a long time to do it because trying to keep my fingers clear so you can see what I'm doing. But when I do it with wire, you can do it like with separate, like three different colors and have them separated. But what happens is it takes a lot longer than what it does with thread. Now, the last part of this, which that's why I call uh, the pattern, it's purple black flash, or black purple flash, I'm sorry. This is holographic purple flashaboo. And I'm going to take two strands. Now, normally I fold them over in order to make them more secure. But in this case, I want them the whole length. I don't want it just on the back, but I want the whole length. So I'm not going to do that. We're going to rely on the thread and the head cement, which is more than sufficient. But I always, double it to make myself uh, feel a little better. Flashabou is kind of hard to do when you can't feel it. Like my neuropathy is pretty bad, so everything's visual when it comes to this, like Flashabou and stuff, and it's hard because you don't feel it, so you have to really be watching. You think you have it, and next thing you know, you're picking it up off the floor, and uh, that looks pretty good. So I'm going to take a little hair clip here. And again, you can buy these off Amazon or even Walmart or any place that sells, women's cosmetics. Hair care products, they should have this. Now I'm going to whip finish it. Hopefully we don't have any issues with the strands getting in the way. That happens to me. That went rather well. Now we'll try this again. 1, 2, 3, 4. 5 is good enough. That's 11. You don't really need that much. That's overkill. But again, I like to make sure I get it right. And I want to make sure I cut my thread instead of cutting my Flashabou. Went to the trouble of putting it in there. I don't want it. Now, for sake of this video, I'm not going to put any head cement on it. And the reason why is if I do, it'll take a while to dry. So what I'm going to do is I'm just going to go and show you how what the final product is like. It's for me, so I'm not concerned about it. And to be honest with you, everything that I've ever done without head cement, I've never had anything fall apart. So use good thread and a good knot, good finishing knot, and you should be fine without it. Now we're getting close to getting done here. I got to reach back and get a bigger scissors here for the end part of this. So what I'm going to do is flip this over. Now what you're going to see is the strand's going to be, looks like it's going to be a little short, but I do that purposely. And the reason, you'll see the reason why in a little bit. But you see how that flares like that when it's shorter, and that's a full 60 strands. Now we're going to take some super glue gel, put some in our weed guard hole. And now I'm going to take, this is a purple and black. I know it's hard to tell that there's purple in there, but there is. So far, so good. And now we're going to put our trailer on. And this is a Zoom Super Chunk Junior. And the reason that, again, I like to try to keep things compact, even like a full-size jig, but, heavy duty, but compact. And it's, you don't have to, but I do it because, again, I'm fishing really pressured water. So I want to make sure, that the jig's a little bit easier for these fish to get, that it doesn't turn them off. I've learned that over the years. I've already, which is why that's how I started threading on my trailers. Is I would get them, they would grab the back end of it, or I wouldn't get bit. And then when I started doing this and shortening them up, I was catching a lot more fish. But there you have it. That's our black purple flash 5/8 ounce Sparkie head. And tell me that doesn't look nice, especially if when the light catches that holographic flashaboo. Well, there you have it. Give it a shot. Let me know what you think. Thanks for watching.